Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by Good Marketing and Waggoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
Well, if you're fortunate enough to run a business that's growing quickly, you need to have a plan to recruit and retain talent. One local financial firm feels that they're set up for long-term growth in a variety of ways, and here to share the Waggoner Financial story are President Kiley, Eory, and Director of Investment and Planning, Ankit, Jalan. Welcome, Kiley and Ankit.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris, for having us.
Did I butcher your last name?
No, you're totally
Jalan?
fine.
Okay,
Jalan,
perfect.
You got it.
All right, excellent. And are you still the Director of Investment and Planning?
I am.
Seems like every time I meet the Waggoner team, you're getting promoted, which is kind of what we're talking about here. Titles change, careers evolve, and that's today's topic today. And you know, this is a good story because I've done a lot of things, but part of it has been small business consulting. And when I meet with small business owners and talk to them about scaling their business and the stresses that they face, it almost always boils down to the org chart and right person, right seat, and and making sure that people are getting credit and performance reviews and compensation reviews and retention and all of that stuff. So I'm very bullish on not only what Waggoner Financial is doing and what I'm going to learn from you here today, but just the concept of the presence and awareness of, like, if we're going to grow fast, we need to not be a flywheel losing people along the way while we're trying to grow, because that's going to back up on our clients.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get started. So, let's talk about Waggoner Financial. First of all, I always like to set the table. What are the services that you provide? Who is your target? Just so our clients can kind of get centered on who you are.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, years ago, we started as a kind of a traditional financial services firm working with individuals and businesses when it comes to their wealth plan and investments. And along the way, we just found that we needed to do more for our clients and more for our team. So we started to add services along the way, tax and accounting being one of them. Then we grew a marketing department. Then we started doing our own investments and research in-house, none of them in that particular order. But just expanded our services where now we feel like people can come to us for one place to have their financial plan, their investments, their estate plan, their taxes, and beyond.
Which is super breath of fresh air to only have to manage one group of people.
Right.
That's awesome. Great. And so that model obviously seems to be successful. You're growing over the last stretch of time, getting more and more clients, and that obviously puts more work on each of the individual folks in the office. So how have you been managing that growth?
Yeah, so we have been doubling about every 2 years, so growing at about 50% a year, which is really exciting for us. But that comes, of course, with its challenges. But I say, if anything's worth doing, it's probably difficult, right? It doesn't mean that we should shy away from it. And we just have a really fantastic group of people in our office, and a really fantastic group of clients that we work with. So it became just natural to grow that fast within our organization.
And can you attribute your growth to anything specific? Is it word of mouth? Is it the fact that you have all these services under one roof? Is it marketing and branding and PR and that kind of stuff? Or what do you point to?
I think a little bit of everything, but the top one would be our people. And having really high standards and procedures in our office. And I'm sure Ankit will talk some more about that too when it comes to recruiting. And then because of that, we are able to expand our services and offer all of these things.
So accounting and taxes in particular seem like a natural fit, but I have never found a financial planner that really has folded that into their job responsibilities. Can you talk about how you decided that was a value add that would be a differentiator for Waggoner?
Yeah. So our team was working with clients, and we just found that we were giving them all of their tax advice and planning and strategy anyway as part of what we normally do. And we thought, well, why aren't we just doing this in-house? It would make it so much easier for the people we want to impact, and of course expand our revenue and opportunities, and be able to add more team members. So now we have CPAs on staff. So it again was kind of a natural progression if you really just thought about it. We were doing all of this work anyway.
Right.
Now it's just time to actually prepare and file the returns.
Right.
And especially for business owners, we run into this a lot, especially local business owners. Now we can do the bookkeeping, auditing, the whole thing in-house. So we're helping them with their business plan, helping them with their personal financial plan, also taking care of the taxes on the side, enrollment, 401ks, group benefits, the whole thing.
So that's another. Yeah. So doing the taxes, obviously financial planning talks about, tolerance for tax, and if we can make these things, but there's going to be a tax burden, and what's your appetite for this and that or whatever. And then pair it all together and actually do the return at the end, or whether it's quarterly or your annual returns. But actually small business bookkeeping. And so Waggoner provides that service as well.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's, is it more of like an auditing backstop, or is it day-to-day revenues in, bill paying, vendors, that kind of stuff? I mean, you do all the blocking and tackling for small businesses.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
excellent. All right. And how long have you been doing that service?
We have been doing that for, let's see, we just rolled out our fourth tax season.
Right.
Is that right? Our fourth tax season. And again, kind of, we ran into people that had needs, and we just slowly started doing that along the way.
Right on. Okay. So clearly there's a lot of talent that you need to get. And I understand that there's a university nearby. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your recruiting tactics, right? So I've read in my preparation for this that not only do you really go full bore into the local university scene and try to recruit from right out of school, but you also have hired some folks internationally and have helped people actually come in. I don't know all the details of that, but that's not as easy as you might think. So really looking and scouring a variety of places to find the best talent. Expand on that. I know that that's a little bit of what you do, but talk to me a little bit more about how that works.
Yeah. So obviously we have different partnership with multiple organizations at MSU. Obviously, we're lucky to be right next to MSU. So we're partnered with a lot of registered student organization, Imagine, which is software engineering club. So we actually presented this recently, partnership with Wealth Management Association at Michigan State. And frequently our team members are being asked to come on campus to just talk about our firm and what we do. And we get referred to a lot of the top talent over there, and we just recruit directly from MSU. And in fact, we brought on 4, 5, 6, I would say like 4 employees in the past couple of years from outside the state, and they moved all the way from different parts of the country to be in Michigan. And obviously, whenever we're recruiting, we want to hire the best of the best. So if we need to go out of the state, we'll do that. Right on.
Yes, that's everything that we are trying to accomplish as a state. My world is an economic developer, commercial real estate, talent attraction. Show after show after show after show, we talk about exactly that.
Right.
The brain drain gets a lot of headlines. How come all the people get educated here and then they leave? My argument has always been the youth of the world are likely to fly the coop. Right. There's a faction of kids that are going to say, I'm from Michigan, I now go to Michigan State, but I need to go try North Carolina or Colorado or Chicago or whatever for a period of time. You're not going to stop that.
Right.
My contention was, why isn't there someone at Oklahoma State saying, I can't wait to get out of Oklahoma and go to Michigan because I keep hearing about all the great things that are happening up there.
Yeah, and we find that.
Right.
Yeah. We find that, right? We're open to, looking within our state, and we of course have Michigan State University, which Ankit mentioned. We are open to going out of state. We're open to sponsoring visas if we have to go that route. We want top talent at our organization, and we want to bring them here.
That's awesome, because you guys have a heavy lift, right? And I mean, your clients aren't going to tolerate mediocrity, right? So the goal is get clients. That's step one, and then not lose clients.
Right.
And that's important to do. Make them stick. Well, here at Michigan Reimagine, we tell stories of passionate Michiganders doing great things across the state. Today's podcast sponsor takes the art of positive storytelling to a whole new level. The good people at Good Marketing work with organizations across the state that are having positive impact on the lives of Michigan residents. They help educate communities on the importance of affordable housing, the impact of wildlife and natural resource management, the availability of workforce development and education programs. If it lifts people up and makes communities stronger, then they want to help you spread the word. If your organization needs help communicating the good work that you do, stop by their website at goodmarketing.com. That's GUD marketing.com. So same as retain, you need to get clients and then you need them to stay. Well, the show today is really talking about getting great talent of employees and then also having them stay.
Right.
So kind of what do you do internally, culturally, to not only attract people and say, here's the value proposition of coming to work for us and here in the Lansing, Michigan region, but here's how your career can blossom over the next 20, 30, 40 years, and you never need to go find another job. Where does it start? What's the value proposition?
Well, an obvious one is compensation, right? Like people want to come in and know that they are valued for what they do, and part of that is through compensation. So we want to make sure we have very competitive and top compensation in our area. But it goes beyond that. People really want to know that they have a path, as you mentioned.
Right.
And one of the unique things about Waggoner is we don't have one career path, right? We can bring somebody on, and if they think they want to be an advisor and work that route, then that's great. But if they want to pivot and they want to work in tax and accounting, because oftentimes there's overlap in schooling between those two programs, they can do that. Or we can bring on people to go through our, work in our tech department, right? We have software engineers on staff. And we can be very nimble. We say if it makes dollars, it makes sense. And so, which you probably heard that from our team many times. So if somebody comes on and they want to go a different path, we feel that we can do that for them within our organization.
So how do you screen for that in the hiring process? As you're looking for folks out there in the world, graduation is going to happen every, 6 months or so. How do you, what are some of the ways that you kind of vet these folks for that kind of appetite for staying in one place? Because this generation gets a bad rap for saying, well, they're going to work in 7 different careers in their professional lifetime. How do you find those people that want to come and stay?
Whenever I'm taking interviews, I heard an analogy from multiple executives, and they say that if the candidate who you're trying to hire, if the situation flipped and they were the hiring party and you were interviewing for them, would you work for them? And that's how I see, like, if I'm trying to hire someone, and if the situation flipped and if I was looking for a job, would I work for this person? I want to make sure that the person we're trying to hire is high achievers, they're on the ball, and just who gets the job done. And even if they don't have a background in finance, we have multiple team members who doesn't have finance background. Kiley doesn't have a finance background. And that's fine. As long as someone's coachable and they have an interest in finance, we'll make it work.
Okay, got it. And so let's say you find that person that you would be willing to work for, and now you bring them in to kind of work for you. Internally, how do you drive the culture, the mentorship, the work-life balance, some of these things, the buzzwords of trying to kind of get your hooks in and make sure that, maybe that first 6 months is impressive as what you sold in the job interview?
So we have a timeline for every employee coming in. We make sure that they have goals set up. We set up 5 goals, which we call them rocks, which are quarterly basis. So we set rocks for them, and we set weekly goals for them as well, which is called bricks. So we set all these goals. We have one-on-one mentorship, which could be from an advisor in different department, and they're in charge of making sure they're onboarding them and also training them on the long-term vision and just trying to give them feedback throughout this process. And obviously a lot of professional development. We help support for a lot of industry standard certifications like the CFA, CFP, CPAs, Series 6, Series 7 licenses, and the growth. And how I envision is that as long as the employee is growing financially, professionally, and if the company is growing, your talent's not going to leave because they would just stick around. Why would they leave the company if all those 3 things are being met? And that's what our goal is internally, to make sure that the management team can provide that to our employees.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, we talked a little bit about you hiring people from out of state. So I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's easier to build your brand, for the greater Lansing region to feel good about Waggoner Financial as an employer in this market. And then, hopefully your clients become your ambassadors,
right?
And so maybe those clients are maybe from here, but then they, winter down in Florida, or they move because of professional opportunities to Colorado, North Carolina, wherever they end up going. So now all of a sudden you have these disciples that are maybe, scattered around the country. What else do you do to try to build your brand outside of the state or even outside of the country? There must be a surgical way or a technical way that you advertise, career opportunities to a outside of the Lansing region, market. What does that look like?
Yeah. So, You're right. Part of that is we have people that, clients that were here and then maybe go out of state. And from that and in other reasons, we have clients now in over 36 states and internationally. A lot of those have sent us people that are candidates, or our candidates have then connected us with clients. So just, I think, being open to working outside of our region with the hopes that we're bringing people back here to benefit this region. We have an advisor that's in Boise, Idaho.
Okay.
So that's really exciting. We have one of our analysts in Manhattan. But the whole point is that we have really talented people, both clients and employees, to bring back to this region.
Makes sense. So now, clearly, as you grow as quickly as you mentioned, you are growing. It's just the workload. You need to continue to hire just to manage the workload, right? But it also allows you to kind of continue to open doors and make sure that, you have, so that growth is almost necessary to allow people to have a career trajectory,
right,
as opposed to being a cog in the machine that is going to be static because the firm isn't really growing, or maybe you get a couple more clients and that person just has a little bit more work. But it's a little hand in glove, right? You ask for the growth, but then you have to just grow to handle the workload. But also that opens up the door for opportunities, people to kind of climb up the ladder.
Right. And we've internally set goals that we're going to be launching 4 new awesome products every year. So that's our R&D, where we try to launch new products and just continue that growth. And obviously, because of that, we're recruiting throughout the year, just because when we have so many products, so many clients, we're going to be looking for talent throughout the year.
Right. And you talked a little bit about recruiting right off college campuses for graduates, but what about an internship program? Have you explored that, and do you do that? And what does an internship program really look like at Waggoner?
Yeah, we've been doing, we call it the Top Gun internship program, and it's a 4-month program. We've been doing it for past 4 years now. This year we aim, probably for next summer, we're going to aim to bring about 10 interns.
Wow.
And basically the idea behind is that we're going to have them one-on-one mentorship and obviously a lot of technical training, sitting on meetings, work under an advisor, getting them prepped up for the industry licenses. And then obviously whenever we make an internship offer, our goal is to potentially bring them on full time, right?
Right.
And that's what I tell to the candidate, that, hey, we're making you an offer, but if we didn't think you would be a full-time candidate, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So ideally, you just want to bring them on as full-time people.
Which we've done.
Which we've done multiple times.
Which we've done many times.
And that's the best. Try it before you buy it. And from both sides, too, right?
Yeah,
of course.
Making sure that they really do find the value, and then they can be that disciple for their buddies who are juniors.
Right.
You need to come intern here this next summer because working here now after school is the right thing to do.
Right.
That's great. Well, you need money to buy a home, right? And so we all need a place to call home. Chris Silker of Keller Williams Advantage and Team offers the expertise that you're looking for. He's helped clients navigate the complicated world of real estate in mid-Michigan for over 10 years, providing the best information possible at the right time to empower the best decisions. Whether you're a first-time home buyer looking for a local expert to guide you from point A to point B, if you're searching for an income property in the competitive Lansing market, right-sizing your life, or searching for the home of your dreams, Chris Silker and the Advantage and Team is the name to trust in Greater Lansing real estate. Visit advantageandteam.com or call Chris Silker directly at 517-242-9251 today to find the home of your dreams. And Waggoner Financial can help you prepare for that purchase of your home.
Absolutely.
So I was talking about, obviously the career trajectory for the employees and the talent and the workload and all that kind of stuff. But having great employees and making sure that you've got enough people really has to benefit your clients at the end of the day, right? Because if you have the reputation to grow as fast as you're growing, but you aren't good at recruiting and retaining talent, you can make a lot of mistakes along the way by having fewer overworked people. You miss opportunities, you let some things slip, you tarnish your reputation, and the growth starts to slow. So how did you learn how to be a great employer and a great recruiter? Because doing one without the other, hiring people without growing is going to be problematic.
Right.
and growing without hiring great people is going to be problematic. So how did you learn how to be a great recruiting and employing company?
Yeah, well, our philosophy is just people aren't happy unless there's growth, as you've mentioned before. So we really need to facilitate that for our team members and the people that we want to bring on. But also, we want to give back more to our clients too. And growing isn't a means to be less boutique for them. It's to offer more and better services and experience for the clients. So to your point, we want our team members to be energized and fresh and feel like they have bigger and better challenges to work on in their careers, and that we're constantly bringing on new people to facilitate that growth, so that our clients then get the benefit of having really energized and on the ball people.
Right. So what's your message maybe to other small business owners who are experiencing growth, maybe some of the things that you've learned, kind of macro, one size fits any industry kind of philosophy to have when it comes to managing growth and the talent that goes along with that?
Yeah. One is there are growing pains, of course, but they're all good. And I mean that, like with every challenge, there's an opportunity. And, the biggest thing is to have, I think, systems and processes in place, right? Everybody has a key performance indicator in our office. Everyone, as Ankit mentioned, has key goals that they're trying to achieve. We track, on-time reporting. We pretty much track and have turned everything into metrics. So that way we can make better decisions and our people can feel more confident about the decisions they're making to serve their team and our clients. So that's what I would say. Ankit?
Yeah, and the metrics are super important because you can analyze and see what's working and what's not working. If someone's doing something different and it's working, then maybe other team members can learn from it and use that as a positive experience. And that's why we've been monitoring all of our metrics over the time. And because of that, we can have good feedback that we can give back to the employees, and that again helps back to the professional development.
So it's not just reward and punishment.
No.
It's learning. Well,
it's learning, yeah.
But it's like, hey, you needed to do 100 of these and you did 97, or you did 120. Clearly, that's the point of it, is to set goals and then work to achieve it. But it sounds like your philosophy is to learn from it.
Right.
It's this person didn't get there, and so let's give them the tools to make them hit their numbers going forward.
Yep. And I remember Eric, who's our boss, he was like, it's his commitment, the company's commitment to each employee. So we'll figure something out. If this is not working, we'll try something out. So that's what we say to our employees, like, hey, we're committed to you as long as you're committed to us. So we'll figure something out. Right
on. Well, if people wanted to learn more about Waggoner Financial, how would they do so?
Yeah. So one, you can go to our website. So Waggoner-financial.com. We're here in Lansing, so you can of course always stop by our office. You can find us on social media. So we're on Facebook, LinkedIn.
So Waggoner, Waggoner, and Eric Waggoner is the principal, and founder and president. You're president, so he's founder,
CEO.
He's the CEO.
Visionary, all those things.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would encourage you to follow Eric Waggoner and Waggoner Financial. But Eric personally has a regular posting, and you have a newsletter daily, 5 things to watch and all those things. And I just say that because I find a lot of real value and kind of a very clean and accessible, accessible. You guys nerd out about all this stuff, and I'm grateful for it because I don't, so if I'm going to give you all my money and say, go do good things with it, I need people that are linear on that stuff. But I like to have financial planning be somewhat accessible. Like, what's really going on? What are the trends? I just saw something on the news. Why is that important, and why does it matter? And just following Eric on LinkedIn or signing up for the newsletter will give you a nice little dose of that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's our On the Money newsletter, if anybody's interested. Yep. So
wonderful.
So five quick little tidbits on what to expect for the day.
Got it. And it's Waggoner-financial.com.
That's right.
Wonderful. Anything I've missed? Anything you want to share that I haven't covered?
I think you covered it, Chris. Unless you have any other questions for us, we're just excited to be here.
I'm so proud and bullish on, like I said, we need our firms to grow. We need more employers. We need to make sure. Granted, unemployment is pretty low from a historical standard, but at the end of the day, there need to be good, high-paying jobs in the Lansing region, and you're doing that, and you're growing, and you've got a great tool in your recruiting processes to find the right people and retain those folks, and your outputs to your clients is great. So I just thought it was a really nice story to have you guys come in and share all of the views of that particular phenomenon going on. So
thank you. Yeah, we are super excited. I think I guess if there was anything else I wanted to say is that we are super excited about it. And we hope, everybody else is too. We want to do more for our people.
Wonderful. We've been speaking to the president of Waggoner Financial, Kiley Eory, and the director of investment and planning, Ankit Jalan. Really appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us today. And I'd love to give a final shout out to all of our loyal sponsors, Good Marketing, Triterra Environmental, Keller Williams Advantage and Team, Michigan Rise, Kirk Byron State Farm Insurance, and the attorneys at Foster Swift. They're all fantastic people who are worth the call. And if you found the show as a one-off, I want to remind you to follow and subscribe to Michigan Reimagined on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere you find your podcasts. This is Chris Buck signing off for Michigan Reimagined.